Hello and welcome to the NEC Big Game, and today it's the preliminary semi-final between NSWRL and South Sydney, coming to you from the Sydney Cricket Ground. At their meetings this year, Manly has defeated South on both occasions, 16-8 at Redfern and 20-2 at Brookvale. Here's the teams: Manly, Melrose, Bowstead, Close, Cleal, Carey, Thompson, Blake, Hasler, Vorton, Ryan, Harvey, Cochrane and Gerard. And that looks like the strongest combination Manly has put on the field for quite some time. South's the same team that won on Tuesday: DeJura, Niscott, Pobji, McCarthy, Harrington, Baker, Coleman, Ellison, Boyle, Hardy, Ackery, Fennick and Rampling. Bob Fulton is the coach of Manly. Ron Willey coaches South Sydney. So it's Manly running from right to left. They're guarding the Randwick end of the ground. Melrose uses the long kick. It's going down into the M.A. Noble corner and immediately put to ground with the ball is Ellison. The tackler was Vorton. Harrington, wing three-quarter for South in 5. Boyle will stooge off and spinning it back to Baker to kick, and it's landed about... But it's got back down inside the 22. Melrose looks for his flankers. He runs towards the Bowstead wing, but comes back infield. There was a swinging arm in the tackle. Referee was sitting right on top of it, but let it go. It was Darren McCarthy who let it rip. This is close, and look at the South Sydney boys going in. They're mean. They're hungry. Gerard, I reckon it's their only chance, to be honest with you. They've got to go in and they've got to hit. And after they've done that, go back in and hit some more. Blake. And when I say that, I mean legitimately. Bronco DeJura. Chunky fullback. Cochrane and Hasler making the tackle. Harrington, big lump of a winger, 15 stoner, 30 metres out from his own line. Blindside, that man is Hardy, plays it tough. Tackler close. Blonde-headed man down low in 10 is Ryan. Kick by Ellison, down 8 metres out from the Manly line. Tony Melrose takes it back, supported by Carey, hit by Darren McCarthy, who has gone out there very fired up. He's made some pretty vicious tackles in the opening seconds. Right across the ground, and Hasler got away from Hardy, got away from another, beat Fennick. He's going well. He's got away from Coleman. There's Hasler, magnificent run, ending about 5 metres on his own side of the halfway. But South will have to tackle a whole lot better than that. This is Harvey, reaching the halfway. Ryan. Dummy half, Cochrane. Blake's calling it. That's in. Thompson. Again, McCarthy in the 4-jumper goes in to assist in the tackle, together with Ellison. The kick by Melrose. And it's a good kick by Tony Melrose. He's been to the cricket ground plenty of times, both in a league and union jumper. And that experience will stand him in good stead. 3 metres outside the South Sydney try line. A try here could be absolutely disastrous for South, and it's looking good for Manly as Close gets back inside and he's gone in to score. That might be just one simple try, but what bothers me is just what it will do to the South Sydney confidence. They've been hitting with everything they've had in their kit, and Manly, cool, calm and collectedly, put on 2 set plays and then spun it ever so wide. And Chris Close jinked and got back inside Darren McCarthy. He had Neil Baker running at 360 degrees. And bingo, first try to Manly.
That was just the start that South Sydney didn't want. We can see that Manly moved the ball quickly along their back line. Thompson threw a second man pass, cutting out Ryan and picking up Close. He stepped off the right foot once, stepped off the right foot twice, beat Baker on the inside, and he goes over to score the first try of the match.
Chris Close scoring the try. Melrose has got an easy one. Or is there an easy kick in a preliminary semi-final? He's got it. Manly leading South 6-0.
Souths are going into the match with one great advantage, and I think that is they've got nothing to lose in the game. But I've, for a long time, thought that Manly were the underachievers of the competition. I think they're the dark horses of the semi-final series.
Oh, Carey has all but gone right through South Sydney. That's the second time the South defence has been shown up by going high. Cochrane getting a pass away. Blake took a high tackle, not in possession, or took a slap over the chin anyway. Played by Carey, spun through Thompson, gone to Melrose, holds it back, hits Cleal with it. He can't handle. That's knocked backwards by South. Harrington to play it. But I was saying that's the second time that the South defence has been highlighted as deficient through trying to make high grabbing tackles. Hasler did it, and now Carey's done it. And Rampling has run into the shoulder of Gerard. The Eagles and the Rabbits, have they had some big matches? A cross through Pobji. He's picked up Darren McCarthy. He's taken by Thompson. Beautiful tackle by Thompson. Much the smaller of the two men. Niscott has the ball raked from him by Cleo. Bowstead takes it away, and Bowstead will play at 15 into South's area.
And already the danger sides of a tired team are starting to show. South have missed some fairly easy tackles. They've dropped some simple ball, and they're the sure indicators that they're off their game and they're tired.
Close, well taken by Harrington. The ball was lost by Close. It's got to be a knock-on. Let's see how the referee sees it. He agrees, and he's going to pack a scrum down. Now Pobji has a little flick of the right hand at Vorton's chin. Wouldn't have killed a fly, to be quite honest with you, but could have brought a penalty, I suppose. And Ryan, one of the most consistent second rowers in the league, plays the ball. A second-man run, hits Cleal with it. Cleal's into a space, finds Hasler. Hasler's gone over the halfway. Here comes Bowstead. Bowstead will score. Shut the gate. Bowstead's home. Right in front of the Bradman stand patrons. Oh, South absolutely opened up. Absolutely opened up to a set play. Two forwards, one going open, one going blind. Cleal it was. Watch them. They head for the open, then Cleal breaks off. He spins off and gets to the blind, and he gets rid of them very, very quickly. And then Hasler just takes a short ball off Cleal. Keep in mind he's playing in the centres, Cleal, but twice Manly have scored, and twice Cleal's been involved in forward plays. Bowstead on the inside, takes it beautifully. Great pass by Hasler, and there's no way in the world you'll catch that man, Bowstead, not unless you've got the Southern Aurora giving you some help.
Noel Cleal stood David Boyle up. He faked a step off the right foot, and then he threw the big step in off the left foot to get around Boyle. Stood in the tackle and got the ball to Hasler. And hasn't he been a success story with Manly since he switched from half-back to lock forward? He made the break. He looked for support. He found Bowstead inside, who positioned himself excellently. One of the best wingers in the world, Kerry Bowstead. And once he gets a sniff of the try line, there's no stopping him. And in he goes for the second try for Manly, and things are looking ominous for the Rabbits.
Let me tell you something else. It was a great rugby league try, and it was a great piece of work by those rugby league cameramen working for 10 Sports here at the cricket ground today. I think I said earlier Manly were hot. They're white hot. But I would think that rival coaches, Masters, Money and Ryan will be watching this one and saying, oof, I hope they don't take this form any further. There's John Money, in fact. 12-0 Manly. Bowstead. Melrose backs up. Melrose has gone down inside the 32 line. And is held there by Neil Baker. But if that's what you're going to get from a kick, then you're better off hanging on to it. There just wasn't enough chasers. Penalty to Manly.
Souths are showing lots of signs of tiredness. They made a kick on that occasion. There was just not a sufficient chase there. Manly realised that Souths were short on their defensive left side, made a huge break up the right-hand side of the field, and now they've got the opportunity to add a further 2 points to their score through a 5-metre penalty.
Here's Melrose, right in front, 20 out. He's got it. Manly leading by 14 points to 0. Watching the preliminary semi-final from the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Souths are going to take that quick kick-off, but they can't do that until the referee's blown the whistle. They were looking for the one they used with success against Canberra.
Just looking to see what was the miss with Noel Cleal. He's getting some attention from the trainer. And there's a little knock-on. Cleal getting back into position. As we speak, he doesn't seem to be Anything other than 100% fit.
And as we could see on the replay, that was a good decision by referee Ward. Tony Melrose put his arms out to have to stop the ball on his chest, but the ball kicked left side and hit him on the arm, and it was a knock-on.
Chance here for the Rabbits. Ball played 10 metres out by Mark Ellison. David Boyle hits it up. Now let's see if Manly can defend. They haven't really been tested. 15 minutes have gone in the match, and it's all been Manly attack, attack, attack. This is Hardy. Ellison, flick pass inside for McCarthy. Harvey and Horton tie him up. Ellison. Well, there doesn't seem to be very much pattern or understanding in that South Sydney set of five. Baker. Here's something they know plenty about. Putting the bomb up. Can they score off it? No way. But it'll be a line dropout, so they'll come back with the ball. See a strapping on Neil Baker's leg. He must have damaged that on Tuesday when he was replaced. Hardy did well. He'll play it inside the quarter. Fennick as the dummy half. Across a dummy to Rampling, outside to Boyle. Boyle held by Cochrane. He'll be a player of the future, Mel Cochrane. Cutout ball to Baker. On to McCarthy. McCarthy's got through Thompson. Holds off Hasler, but Hasler wrestles him to the ground. They're only 15 out south. They've got to score if they're going to get back into this one. Manly are just sailing too sweetly at the moment. They've got wind in their sails. This is DeJura. Fennick gets out from dummy half, uses the referee, gets the ball away to Hardy. Hardy pops it inside. It's come off the face of Harrington. Picked up by Carey for Manly, and the pressure's off for the Eagles. And if that's the most that South can offer, as far as attack's concerned, then Manly are going to have a pretty easy day. Nearly a quarter of the match gone. Harvey.
It's noticeable to me, Ray, that Manly have made a slight positional change to what they've done in the early rounds in the competition. Normally we've seen Alan Thompson taking first pass off the ruck, which to my mind has always left them a man short in the back line because Blake didn't go to 5'8", so it meant that their 5'8" Thompson took first pass and picked up a centre. But now we see Phil Blake's taking a lot of first passes today, and they've got a much longer back line than they'd normally have.
Here's the kick from Melrose. He's done nothing wrong so far, Tony Melrose. Niscott. Pretty dangerous practice, leaving yourself up as a sitting duck for a shoulder charge from Harvey. This is Rampling. Plays about 5 metres south side of the halfway. A dummy to the decoy. They go back to the showground side, and Boyle gives it back to DeJura, but all he did was run into the arms of Close. And here comes a replacement to the sideline for South. It's Darryl Neville. Blake. Horton, troubles. Cleo to the halfway. Gets a pass away to Horton. Cleo backs Horton up. He gets a one-hander over to Thompson. They stretch it to the right. They'll score. Here goes Ryan, but he's decided to go up the middle. Ryan, can they support him? He's inside the 32-metre line. Raked back by South, and they come away with the ball, but knocked on by Dean Rampling.
Well, that's another sign of tiredness. Dean Rampling dropped a fairly simple ball, but the Manly players should have learnt from Tuesday night when South played against Canberra that Fennick likes to rake the ball and to play the ball. He's done it twice today.
There goes Michael Plobsey from the field, replaced by Darryl Neville. Fed by Blake, won by Manly. Good heel by Cochrane. It's way to Thompson. Thompson looks for his winger coming from the blind Bowstead, but he wasn't able to pop in the ball. Tackled, and there's a brawl broken out in 3 parts of the ground. Rampling and Harvey were the main contestants, and Ryan is down on the ground. He had an encounter with Ellison. gets the penalty. Ryan still receiving attention. There's the Brawongle. That's, of course, the first of these two magnificent stands that was completed. And it's always well patronised, the Brawongle. That's everybody's first choice. And in fact, we're broadcasting back, would you believe, on the Manly 10-metre line. So we're getting a horrible angle on it, but still it's enjoyable sitting up here with a bird's eye view as Tony Melrose misses his first goal of the match. Manly leading South by 14-0. You're watching the preliminary semi-final. The drop kick by Manly, by South. It's gone down to Manly's Carey. And McCarthy goes in and makes the tackle. Dummy half is Gerard pinching 5 metres. Rampling and Hardy making the tackle. Rate 4 by South, and it's with Manly's Cochrane, and he's given 6 more. Gordon. Tackle was Ellison. Blake, Melrose, Cleal. Back he goes. He's away from Boyle. Boyle knocked over McCarthy. Then he fended off another. Rampling got rid of him and was put down by Hardy. But Cleal, everywhere he goes, he's causing troubles. Harvey's put it down. Picked up by Ellison for South on the halfway line. There's no doubting the power of Cleal today. Early we saw him in tight. Harrington getting a beautiful ball. And then a magic tackle by Alan Thompson. His tackling today has been a feature of this game, Thompson. Copybook stuff, straight out of the manual. This is Zachary. Mario Fennick. Short ball, Coleman. Baker, cut-out ball. Neville to the 22 line. About 14 and a half minutes of the first half remaining. Coleman. Rampling, reaching the 22. 5 tackles are gone. The bomb will come from Baker. High kick by Baker. Up they go for it. Put down by Melrose. Ackery rakes it back. That'll be play on. No. Well, he's sure to knock on. Here it is again. Melrose certainly knocked on. The ball went to ground. I can't see how he's ordered a knock-on against South.
I thought Paul Ackery got his arm to the ball, but we couldn't quite pick it up.
Well, he did, but if you notice closely, it came off his hand onto his leg and bounced backwards. Anyway, we're with the play, and South Sydney on the attack, 10 metres out. Baker, McCarthy. McCarthy spearing it back for Rampling. Coleman, South with a chance. Ackery turning it inside, finding, he found Dejura. I think Broncos wishing he didn't. McCarthy hit by Hasler and Vorton. Dejura, Coleman, Baker, the bomb, not a bad one either. Chance here for South. Yes, it's a try. That's a try. Scored by, I believe it was no, it's the second row, Bill Hardy. Hardy, the second rower, scoring off an immaculate bomb by Neil Baker, right between the uprights. Gee, it was a good bomb. He had a bit of pressure on him too, from Gerard. But there was plenty of troubles here for Melrose, and he never really got near the ball. Hardy taking it to ground sweetly, safely, and that's a try. So Souths have come back to 14-4 down. It'll be 14-6 because Baker is only 12 metres out and right in front. They had to do something like that, Bill, didn't they? Because 14-0, that's a big score in any match. But it's a hell of a score in a sudden death semi-final, and they have to get points on the board before the break.
They certainly did, and there could have been no better man there than Bill Hardy. In the past, he's shown us what a good ball receiver he is from bombs. He never took his eye off at any stage, and he came up with a 4-pointer.
Baker gets the extras. Manly leading by 14 points to 6. Kick by Tony Melrose. Boyle calls it and takes it. Reaching the 22 line. That's a penalty for the Rabbits. That's against Harvey. Borton had made the tackle, and Harvey wasn't happy with that. When Boyle got up, he put him back on the ground. Line finder to be taken by Baker. Here's Boyle tackled by Borton. And he tries to get up, and Harvey leans on him, and so the referee rules that he wasn't allowed to play the ball, and so Ackery hits it up to the halfway line. It might be wishful thinking from the South point of view, but if they can put some more points on the board before half-time, and that's 10 minutes away, they could come out and really give this Manly side a run for their money.
Well, one thing you do know is they won't stop trying.
The kick by Baker will find touch, no risk. And the South Sydney fans have got something at last to cheer about. This scrum will go down about 15 metres out from the Manly line. Fed by Blake. It's a South penalty. Blake feeding it into the second row with the feed and the loose. I think Blake has said something to the referee. He's called him back. It couldn't have been too bad, whatever he said. The referee, of course, had that other string to his bow. Hardy's put it down on the first tackle. Oh, gee. That's bad for Souths. Now they're back in the rather boring pastime of tackling. Played by Ryan, struck 4, 6 more for Manly. This is Cochrane.
That was a bad mistake by South Sydney. Manly hadn't had the ball for quite a period of time, and South had a lot of pressure on. Things were starting to run their way, and they came up with a simple handling error.
Oh, just as well Borton dropped that. As far as Souths are concerned, they had the overlap. They could have made a lot of ground up the left flank. Hasler. One thing Manly hasn't had to do in the first 30 minutes is actually defend one-on-one. The only real defensive test they've had has been from the bomb. They haven't taken a great deal of physical battering, I don't think anyway, from having to make tackles. De Jura, and, you know, to lose the ball on the first tackle when you've been given a penalty by the ref, that to me looks like you've let him out of jail. This man is Darryl Neville. He came on replacing Michael Pobji, who looked as though he should never have gone out there in the first place. Boyle. This is the sort of defence that I'm talking about, that Manly hasn't been asked to provide for very much of the game. Baker, put down by Ryan and by Hasler. Played back to Fennick, just beyond the 22. Coleman works the blind. Gets off a shoulder, gets into some space, looks inside, and he's flung to the ground, the little fellow, 10 metres out. Can the Rabbits do it on this bomb? It's gone to Baker. There goes the test for Melrose. And underneath it is Carey. Over the line, over the dead ball line. Line drop out. So Souths have put a couple of bombs up to Melrose. They scored off one, and another time I thought they were done a disservice. Baker's injured. Touch judge is on. Could be some trouble here. Souths fans giving vent to their feelings. He's going to give a penalty, I think. There's the late hit. And he's given a penalty. Well, you can walk up and throw it over. Oh, Blake went high and late, according to both touch judges. Phil Blake, the offender.
Well,
just as we were thinking that maybe we'd need the cricket scoreboard, things are starting to turn around a bit, and I hate to remind you that it all started with the blue that broke out about 10 minutes ago.
Maybe if it had started earlier, they would never have been behind.
Well, you know, I'm not an advocate of the blue, but it does seem to me that since they put the brawl on, South have...
Well, I was merely referring to the fact that you said if it was going to start, you thought it might have started in the first scrum and not after the 20th minute.
Yeah, point taken. Well, here's Baker. The easiest kick he could ever dream of. Right in front. 11 metres out. No worries. No worries in the world at the moment, apart from the fact that they're still behind by 14 points to 8, South Sydney.
When it comes to...
This kick, he's been driving it into that M.A. Noble corner all day. Harrington brings it out as hit by Gerard and Ryan. Dummy half is Mario Fennick. Dummies to Coleman, turns it inside for Boyle, runs into Harvey and Ryan. And Boyle appealing to get up. Spun to Baker. And they kick, and Baker split the winger and the full-back. A good kick by Baker. Gives the runners plenty of time to get down there and do their job. I'm just looking for runners. There's not a lot of them, let me tell you. Hardy was the first man up there. Harrington, a winger. He was the second there, and he made the tackle. Manly are now back inside their own 22. And this is Carey running into the arms of Boyle. About 4.5 minutes of the first half to go in our preliminary semi-final at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Gerard's put it down. South have come away with it. Manly starting to make mistakes. Coleman across to Baker. Baker's got McCarthy with him. There goes Darren. He's up and inside the 22 line. He's going to play it back to Craig Coleman across and turning it inside for Rampling. And South Sydney are about 18 metres out from the Manly line. And they've got a chance just in front of the half-time siren. Coleman goes the blind. He gets up the middle. This little jockey-sized halfback. He's got within about 6 metres of the line. Mario Fennick from dummy half passes, finds Baker. It's gone to McCarthy. McCarthy draws them, gets it to Ackering. He gets a pass away. He finds Ellison. Ellison looks to pass. He does. It's gone to ground, and they've still got the ball on the 5th. Baker's got the ball. McCarthy's hurt his face. Ackery passes, finds Coleman. Coleman kicks. Niscott looked to be offside. He's got the ball and scored. Niscott has scored. South Sydney have scored off a Craig Coleman bomb. The medium of Ziggy Niscott. And I'll be very interested to see this one on replay. I was looking through the binoculars and thinking to myself, gee, Niscott might have been in front of the kicker. But no way in the world, as I see it on the replay, Niscott taking on Melrose one-on-one, and Melrose has been again beaten and beaten badly.
Well, I don't blame Melrose for that at all. I just think he didn't get any protection whatsoever from the other Manly players. When the ball goes up, you've got to protect your fullback and support him, and Melrose didn't get any whatsoever.
Well, Ziggy Niscott scores a fair bye. I thought for a moment he was in front of Coleman, but he was not. And it was proved conclusively by the video replay. And Souths have come right back into this game, and they'll be going to the break in just a few moments' time after pulling back from 14-0. And Baker. Baker with a chance to make it 14-14. He hits it straightly, and it's 14 points all. Manly and South Sydney at 14 all with just under 2 minutes of the first half to go. Well, the big diamond vision screen at the cricket ground's got a few people puzzled at the moment. It's showing 14-12, and the scoreboard at the other ground, on the other end of the Bradman's got Manly leading by 14-10. Channel 10, we've got 14-14. Now the ground scoreboards are catching up. Talk about confusing. There's nothing worries you more than thinking, oh, I've given the wrong score. Harrington is outside the 22, And I was talking about an injection that South needed, and they've got 2 of them, both off the bomb. And that's the pattern of play that South knows so well. It's the one they love. They just take it up with simple stuff and go bang. This is Fennick. Now Zachary.
Ray, in order to put a bomb up, you've got to be within striking distance, and I just think that the Manly's defence is allowing that to happen. They're not tackling with the same urgency that they were early in the game. You can only put a kick up if you're close enough, and Manly are letting South get close.
There mightn't be many people at the cricket ground, but by golly, they're making plenty of noise. Baker's kick is down in the in goal. It's gone in touch in goal. It'll come out to the 22-way for the place kick restart by the Eagles. This will be the last exchange. The last set of 6 is about to start. Timepiece showing 25 seconds to go, and 14 all is the scoreline. You wouldn't believe this, the change that's come over this match. Well, you people in Brisbane can, because you've been watching it live, but Manly started, and South looked as though they didn't want to know about the tackling caper, low anyway. And then the Rabbits have turned around after what looked like a brawl that had broken out across the ground. Here's close. He's tackled on the halfway, but after that eruption from the scrum, South have come back and scored 2 converted tries and kicked a penalty, and they leave the field, these 26 players, with Manly, I suppose, shell-shocked.
The Manly are walking off and Souths are running off.
14 points all. We'll be back in just a moment after this break.
Bored out of your head, looking for something over the edge. Luna Park is just for you. Keep you cool. Luna Park is just for you. Keep you cool. Luna Park is just for. Luna Park is just for. If you're looking for a door and you want to get more than something that you gotta see. Has it gotta be? Has it gotta be? Oh, has it gotta be and me? 'Cause if you're looking for a door with a whole lot more, there's only one door worth looking for. It's got to be, got to be, got to be.
Forwards had done the lead-up work, and Manly led by 6-0 with the conversion. It was only 5 minutes later, and they put this superb try together. This fellow Cleal again was part of the action. He was the destroyer on this occasion. Hasler backed him up. He took it down ground, and then he gives a beautiful ball inside for Kerry Bowstead, who will come into this shot in just a moment. There's the pass. Bowstead's there, and once he saw the vacant grass in front of him, there was no way they were going to catch Kerry Bowstead. And it was all Manly. They eventually led by 14-0. South came back after 28 minutes with a try to Hardy, and then almost a replica of it for South by Ziggy Niscott after 36. And so South Sydney miraculously have come back from 14-0 to 14 all. So both sides back on the field. No changes to either. South's making the one change during the first half, Michael Pobji. He was replaced by Darryl Neville. Here's the start now of the all-important second half. Only 40 minutes left in this Sydney Rugby League competition for one of these two sides. De Gira taken by Gerard. Well, Bill, it seems the momentum in the Manly machine dropped away in the last 15 minutes of that first half. What do they have to do to stop South going ahead like they are in leaps and bounds?
Well, I think the big difference between the two teams at the moment is in their relative kicking games. Manly only kicked the ball on 5 occasions in the first half, whereas South kicked it on 12. They got big territorial gains from those kicks, put up 2 bombs and scored tries from them. So I think that Manly have got to improve their own kicking game and nullify South.
South with the ball on the halfway line. Fennick has just been cautioned on the run. Baker kicks. It's a big one down between winger and
full back, and it's going to go over the dead ball line, so it'll come out to the 22 for the place kick restart by Manly.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. We could see that Bacon got the ball, he's put it dead in goal. Manly have now got a restart with the tap from the quarter line, and Souths are going to try and pin them there, get the ball back and put up another bomb. I'll be looking for Melrose in this half to drive the ball consistently and on the early tackles deep into South's area.
This is Harvey. Not quite reaching the 32-metre line. Here's Gerard. Just look at Mario Fennick. He strikes for the ball in the early play of the balls a lot. And it's interesting to see when he's lifting that foot.
And that's better play from Manly. Melrose, he was put off by kicking on his right foot, or took it on his left foot and got a good territorial gain. Now Manly have to keep South here.
Ball played by De Jura. Coming away with it is Neville. Neville comes to Hasler and Harvey, and he's thumped to the ground, and that hurt him. This cricket ground is like a block of granite at the moment. Here's Boyle. And they're back nearly to the halfway line. That's their third tackle, South. As it's spun through to Coleman onto Baker. Baker turns it and finds Hardy, runs into Gerard, and that's 4 gone, so Baker may kick on this tackle. It's with Fennick. He decides to go for a dummy half run, then throws the cutout ball. Neville got inside close, crossed the halfway. Thompson rounded him up. 5 tackles gone for South Sydney now. And it's Baker the man to watch, this man. There goes his kick. Came off a Manly player. Back to De Jura. De Jura is tackled. He's restarted the tackle count, gone to Ackery, now to Boyle. Boyle stands, says who wants it? Nobody wanted to run. Boyle to play it, 7 or 8 metres into Manly's area. There goes Fennick from dummy half. They should have been a wake up to him. He loves to run from dummy half. You've always got to have good marker defence when you're playing against Fennick. Coleman turns it, Hardy hits it up to the 22 line, and Souths have come back now with the same drive that they left us with at the end of 40. This is Ellison. Oh, Vorton's copped it. Vorton's head clashed with one of his teammates, and Manly are playing with 12. Here's Coleman on the 5th tackle. Coleman to play it. Vorton is still on the ground. Plays it back to Ellison. Off it goes to Baker. Up goes the bomb, the one they've been working for, and they go up for it. Niscott throws the pass. Ackery gets it to Hardy. Hardy scores. South Sydney have hit the front. Well, Niscott was standing there. He couldn't believe it. He had the ball without a contest. See it again. Niscott stands there, and then he makes this charge at the line, and then he throws the ball and just says, I hope. There's Bosted going in there giving some protection. Niscott comes down with it. He wasn't really challenged. It'll come back to Ackery. Ackery says, I'll get rid of this as quick as I can. And Bill Hardy, standing out on the wing, goes in to score, and Souths are leading by 18 points to 14 after being down 14-0.
If you're having success with something, why wouldn't you keep doing it? Souths worked the play down into Manly's quarter, put up the bomb. We can see they've had success from it in the first half. Niscott came up with the ball, was held in the tackle, couldn't get his arms free at first, finally threw the ball back to Ackery. Ackery looked and saw Bill Hardy, would you believe, unmarked on the wing, and in he goes for another great South Sydney try.
Vorton has been told to stand still. Baker's kick, oh, it's gone like an arrow. That's a bullseye. Souths leading by 20 points to 14. You're watching the NEC big game from the cricket ground, and this is sudden death football. As Manly ruck it in, they may put the same play on that Close scored off earlier. It's a dummy back to the blind. It's nothing like it. And this is Melrose.
The man they'll be looking for here is Noel Cleal. He's dangerous 10 or 15 metres out from the opposition line. It takes 2 and 3 to pull him down, and Fulton will be looking for plenty of work from him in these situations.
Harvey's about 8 metres out.
And he is revving up for a run behind the play the ball, Cleal.
The Rabbitohs are going to have to weather a hell of a storm here in a moment. Oh, the pass has gone to the ground, but it's play on. Ryan, oh, it's gone in to touch off the hand of Bosted. They were just boiling it up. It's a pretty simple pattern, really, that Manly uses. They just use some plays around the tap penalty, and then the stretches on, and it's a real quick stretch and very wide. And the face of Kerry Bosted in that shot shows it all. Glenn Ryan off for Manly. South winning the scrum. Coleman tackled by Hasler. Ellison, not held. Gains another 7 metres. He's out to the 22 line. Hegarty going to full back is the message. And away goes Darren McCarthy. Souths have lost Ellison at the moment. He's down clutching at his wrist. There he is, Ellison. It's his shoulder. He's got no feeling there at the moment. So the Rabbitohs will be looking for Baker to kick in a moment. It's with Coleman. Now it's with Dejura. And that was one-on-one. Melrose making the tackle. Thompson's probably gone into the scrum, has he? Or is it Cleel that's gone into the scrum?
Cleel's gone into the second line.
There's the kick down to Hegarty. Big day for Steve Hegarty. Back he comes. Tackled by Ackery. Cleel's gone to dummy half. It's a penalty to Manly. He was trying to play the ball forward. Correct ruling by the referee, no question. He's come straight off Ellison.
On the line, Phil.
Hegarty finding the line. South playing with 12. Tap taken by Cochrane. Given away to Bowstead. Bowstead taken. Well, the question is now, Michael Andrews coming out for South. The question is, can the Rabbits hang on? Harvey getting a good ball to Melrose. Magic ball to Harvey. Turned inside to Ackery, but he's wearing the wrong jumper as far as Manly's concerned. And Ackery turns them around.
And that was panic play by Manly. They'd made the initial break. It was only the second or third tackle. They had plenty of time to settle things down and work, say, on the fifth or sixth. They weren't prepared to do it. Squeezed out a pass that wasn't on, and now they've forfeited possession.
Boyle, midway between the 22 and halfway to play it for South. Andrews, the fresh man on for South. He's replaced Ellison. It's with Hardy, and Hardy is neatly taken by Melrose, who's now playing at 5/8 for the Eagles, or the centre, isn't he? Into the centre, and here's Fennick. Fennick has made another bust. Fennick has tackled from behind by Phil Blake. It's got to be a penalty. Got to be a penalty to South. Blake had made the tackle. Fennick got up to play the ball, and Blake tackled him again. It's the same penalty in reverse as the one that Ward used a few minutes ago against South Sydney. See the tackle, copybook stuff, and then he tries to get up and Blake pushes him to the ground again. There could be no complaints about that. Here's Baker with what could be a semi-final winning kick. And keeping South in with a chance to play the grand final. That's how important it could be. He hits it. It looks good. He likes it. The touch judges have got the flags up. It's a goal to Baker. And the Rabbits lead by 22-14. Quick restart by Manly. The gridiron stand up. But South had reassembled very quickly. And Harrington takes it back. Manly's, well, they haven't really followed that kick-off through very well, Bill. It went 50 metres on the fly, and Harrington was able to come out to the 22 before he found a defence man.
And then South were able to follow it up with two pick play the balls, and they're only 10 metres off the halfway line after 3 tackles.
The South Sydney Rabbitohs have got Manly shaking. They're leading by 8 as Baker tries to do something himself by running with it. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised that's the first time that Neil Baker has tried to run with the ball. Here's Hardy, and that roar down below, it's absolutely, it's deafening. As this, as I said earlier, not a big crowd, but there's a lot of South supporters among them apparently, and they're roaring for the South Sydney side to go on with it. They haven't beaten Manly this year. They've come through a playoff last Tuesday. They're leading by 8 points. They've come from 14 points to 0 down in this match, and they are looking every bit as though they're going to put it away. This is Neville around Gordon. He's into a gap. Oh, he's come into a gang tackle. 2 metres out from the Manly line. South Sydney attacking. McCarthy to Coleman. Coleman to Baker. Baker's tackled. 5 metres out. There's a South Sydney player injured. It's Daryl Neville. It's Darren McCarthy going with it. He's 2 metres out. They may set themselves for a drop goal. It's Baker a dummy half. Coleman is the first pivot. It's a dummy, and then he decides to go, the little fellow. That's 5 tackles gone. 5 gone. Fennick is the dummy half. Fennick a dummy half. Goes himself, and he's lost it. No, he didn't. He threw it back and hoped. And it's Harvey for Manly with the ball. Neville back on his feet for Souths. Cleo
dummy after dummy and trying to make ground, but pull down the big man. Andrews in 20, Boyle in 9, Gerard, Souths, they can smell victory and they're hitting now. I think some of them are hitting from memory. Manly with an awful problem now. They're playing against a side that is playing on a Cinderella story, as described this morning by their captain, Fennick. Certainly the underdogs, but at the moment I think they're tackling from memory, some of them, as Hegarty kicks the Jura. He may let it go over the dead ball line, but it's a very deep one at the cricket ground. He can't afford that luxury. He's got to bring it out. And De Jura is tackled on the line.
That was a better chase by Manly, wasn't it? They got the ball down into the in goal. De Jura tried to run the ball out, and a good tackle by Manly forced him back in goal, necessitating the line dropout.
22 to 14. 22 and a half minutes to go. Sudden death football. There's nothing like it. 15,800 here today as Hegarty uses Melrose to take it back, then backs him up. But he's flung to the ground by Neville. Carey comes to dummy half, gives it to Melrose. Now it's with Gerard. Oh, that was a good, solid hit by Ackery on the South 22 line. Now it's Harvey's turn, but they're swarming in over him.
I think the player that can turn this game for Manly is the man one off the ruck now, Phil Blake, and Bob Fulton will be looking for him to get himself involved. It's a potential match winner, but not if he keeps out of the play.
Horton is tackled. The crowd roared for a penalty. They roared for the penalty from the Shepherd. Thompson passes, picks up Des Hasler, and Hasler is tackled, and that's the turnover. That's the turnover. Ackery plays it. Boyle runs with it. Vorton makes the tackle, but I don't think Vorton has been himself since he took that clout on the head. Fennick, a lot of dummy half stuff, a lot of first pivot running. There's no need for that sort of stuff. This is a live ball, this one. Niscott is tackled. 4 gone. Niscott with that knee heavily strapped. The cartilage operation a fortnight ago. Boyle 10 metres from the halfway, and now the kick. It's almost 1, 2, 3, 4 kick. Where's Baker? I'm looking for him. Here he is. And there it is. The torpedo punt down to Hegarty. He takes it 15 out from his own line. Out past the 22 and the 32. And now he's tackled by Hardy. And Hegarty losing it. And that's the thing that, of course, Souths are hoping for all the time by trying to play percentage football. 6-2 the scrums to the Rabbits, 5-4 the penalties to the Eagles. Make the penalties now 6-4 to the Eagles. Back here tomorrow, of course, for Parramatta and St George. And our Brisbane viewers, you won't have the luxury of a live coverage of that one, I'm led to believe, but you will see that match in your normal local time slot for rugby league. Tomorrow night, you'll see the Sydney Major Semi-Final tomorrow night on O in Brisbane. Bowstead trying to win it on his own. He's 15 metres out, and Souths have to turn around and go back. I think Bowstead's still got the ball. No, it's come up with Souths. Well, he must have ruled that Bowstead tried to play it ahead. Bowstead's hurt. He can't get up, Bowstead. It's his shoulder. Fennick is down.
We've seen Fennick rake the ball back time after time in the play the ball this year, more particularly on Tuesday night, and I just wonder how first-grade players would allow it to happen to them. It's a very simple fundamental of the game, and it just shouldn't happen.
Well, it was a contest between the two men, keeping in mind that once the ball is on the ground, both players can strike for it. Well, Bowstead's been brought off by trainer Ronnie Bowden, and Kerry's in a lot of pain there. He's got no feeling in that right shoulder. Souths are just so pumped up, and they've got this 8-point lead as a cushion now since that great kick from Baker. Here's Ackery. players in this South Sydney side, honestly, that people hadn't heard of at the start of the year. Rampling. Fennick is a dummy half. He could even run from here. He does it often. There he goes. Just a few paces out, taking some heat off. Baker hits it inside for Boyle. Boyle is tackled. And they're about 20 metres out from the Manly line. They're going to put on their Wally move, I'd say. It's Baker coming to the open. But it went to ground with Baker. Coleman now positions himself for another hit at it. Hardy had to lean forward. He puts up a bomb. McCarthy's after it. Pressure for Hegarty. Niscott was held back. And it's forced in goal by Manly. And a line drop out for the Eagles. 2-1 on the Eagles this morning. There's the drop kick. Hegarty sending it very deep. A big, big kick. And Harrington goes back with it for Souths. I'm watching the time. 16 to go. And Harrington. He went out there feeling strong, but I think he's playing with more strength than he actually possesses at the moment. The adrenaline will be just pumping. They'd all be so feeling great, South Sydney, at the moment. They realise they've just got to keep playing safe, but at the moment they want to play razzle-dazzle stuff. Neville inside for Dejura, and Dejura to play the ball. Back to Mario Fennick. It's a penalty for South. He was held as he tried to get up and run with it, and Baker will put this over, I would think, and basically put the seal on this one. Well, the way the match is going, you'd have to think another 2 points. Manly couldn't handle that. South are now starting to throw the ball about, Bill, like you'd expect Canterbury to be doing.
Well, I'm sure that their coach Ron Willey would prefer them to play a little bit safer, but you get away with what you can in a football game. And looking at the enthusiasm in these South Sydney players, the captain Ziggy Niscott's in the middle of them now, revving them up even further if they need it, and if they can get further points, they're going to.
Baker, he's already kicked one from this angle before, and he's missed this one. And it's in the in-goal area. And McCarthy goes up there with Neville, but Melrose runs over the top of them. And it's away to Phil Carey, and David Boyle makes the tackle. That's a good run by Manly. A very good run by the Eagles, Tony Melrose. Away now to Cochrane out wide. It's Vorton's put it down. Knock on by Vorton. Well, this great player, Paul Vorton, he's had some unhappy moments in this one. Fed by Coleman, won by South. They're getting clean heels. I'm not sure about the feeds because we're not getting a good angle on them from where we're sitting. As I said, we're 10 metres out from the South's line in the second half.
The scrums are 7-2 in favour of South Sydney, and with that sort of possession, they've had plenty of opportunities to kick the ball, which they've done, and they've made great advantage with it.
Here's Rampling, head down, backside up, and just taking it ahead. Out goes Fennick from dummy half, and so he stands, and he offers it, and there's Rampling, finding oxygen that he didn't think he possessed. He's got it within 7 metres of the Manly line. Played back for Bill Hardy. They're going to put it over, I think. No, Baker decides to step. Then he kicks. Baker will score himself. Oh, no, it was plucked out of the air by Hegarty. He looked 1,000,000 to 1 on Baker to score. And now it's with Stuart Davis for Manly, who came on to replace Kerry Bowstead. And there's the Baker kick. I thought he was, as I said, long odds on to get it back and score. But Hegarty was there to save for Manly. 12 minutes of time remaining. South leading by 8 points. Harvey taking it ahead. But of course the gusto of these big Manly forwards is not there like it was, say, in the first 20 minutes or the first 30 minutes when Manly looked just so superior. Here's Cleal, and they've got him around the legs and managed to stop him long enough for a couple of their workers to get in there and make a tackle. David Boyle in particular. He's worked himself to a standstill. Blake kicks. That'll find touch, will it? No, it's well in field. Going back for it is Bronco Dejura. He won't get tapped in goal this time. He's got his winger Harrington with him, but he won't want to pass. He's tackled about 7 or 8 metres inside the 22 line. Plays it back to Harrington for a dummy half run. Harrington to the 22 line. And in goes Neville now to dummy half. The doctors have replaced that shoulder dislocation of Kerry Bowstead's. Apparently it popped out. The doctors have got it back in. 32 metres out from the south line. Ball played by Ackery. A little spinge off there by Fennick, and it's hit to the blind by Hardy. And Fennick again gets the dummy half. I think they've had 4 Souths as Fennick goes for a dummy half run, and then will be a hand back to Coleman. Coleman looks for an opening. He finds Neville. Neville tackled by Close, and now Baker will kick as Schubert comes on in 15 for Manly. It's back now to Coleman. Coleman finds Baker, and there's the pattern. Pretty simple stuff. Big kick. Beautifully placed again by Neil Baker, and here's Davis with it for Manly. McCarthy's there to try and stop him. He can't, but Boyle is there, working right to the end, together with Andrews, one of the South replacements. It's fed off to Tony Melrose. He crosses the 32-metre line, but he's tackled by Mario Fennick, who's been a shining light there for South today. It's gone now with Chris Close, and he's trying to pummel his way up the field after scoring a try early in the match. Close now plays it. 5 metres on the Manly side of the halfway. Cleo goes over the halfway. But these South Sydney Rabbitohs, they're hanging off the big man. They know who the danger men are. And they've done their damnedest to try and keep them quiet here this afternoon. Here's a run from Mal Cochran. He's inside the 32. There's a portal ride, but it was a fraction late from Phil Blake. The timepiece says it's inside the 10-minute marker. And it's South Sydney leading by 22 to 14. Manly's Vorton passes to Melrose. Melrose is inside the quarter. He's got Hegarty unmarked. It's a try. Beautiful football by Tony Melrose. Beautiful football by Tony Melrose. He held that ball up, and he held it up some more. And Hegarty was in to score, unchecked. And see it again on the NEC replay. From Vorton to Melrose. McCarthy dropped off Melrose and left him to the inside man. But the inside man couldn't get to him, and the winger had to come in and take him, and that's where all the trouble happened. Bill Anderson.
It was a well-timed pass by Melrose after he made the initial break. You can see the ball goes here from Vorton to Melrose. McCarthy stays off him. He realises he's got to stay out as Manly have got extras. Melrose did well to push through the hole. Once he'd got his nose through, he got his hands free, gave a well-timed pass, a well-weighted pass to Hegarty, and he does the rest.
So Hegarty scores for Manly, and Paul Vorton is off for Manly. Schubert is on. This is a big kick for Hegarty. 22 to 18. He's out on the sideline. Dave Brown's coming down for Manly. They're pulling plenty of the big names out. Here's Hegarty. It's a good-looking kick, but it's just got across the uprights. So Manly has to score again to equalise and then kick a goal or a drop goal.
Or we'd go into extra time of 10 minutes each way.
22 to 18. Gerard is off. There's about 8 minutes of time remaining. 45 seconds remaining. And Souths are leading by 4.
And Blake's the man that Souths are going to have to keep their eye on. He must be ready to explode.
Schubert loses the ball behind him. Hasler goes across the ground. He's chased and hit there by Baker. Hasler to play it. Just outside the 22, they're on their last tackle. Manly. Hegarty kicks. And Hegarty's kick is going to find touch midway between the 22 and the halfway on the south end of the field. We have semi-finals and finals as good as this one. We're gonna have an absolute feast of nail-biting on our hands. Coleman feeds, second row feed, penalty Manly. It's as if the script has been written for this one to go right down to the wire. So, differential penalty to Manly. The timepiece continues. 4:45 and counting. Souths leading by 4. Manly, can they come back? Trailing by 4 points. South, can they hang on? 2 questions. That's all. Cleo mauled over by these South Sydney players. And by now, I reckon Bobby Fulton and Ron Willie have called for sedatives for themselves, not for the players. Here's Schubert. Schubert again mauled over by the South players. It's with Dave Brown and Phil Blake, and now Alan Thompson. And Alan Thompson runs into a hole, gets it to Hasler, a handoff. Play on, says the referee. Not backwards. 4 minutes to go exactly now.
4 minutes exactly. Manly down by 4. Cochrane goes from dummy half. He bumps them off. There goes the ball out to Harvey. There's a chance here for Manly. Melrose has lost it. Oh, he was over the line and lost it. He was across the line and lost it. The South Sydney coach, secretary and president almost fell out of the grandstand. Niscott can't play the ball, and the referee calls timeout. 3:38. 3:38, the timepiece has stopped at that count. There it is. Bobby Fulton. Willie. And listen to the South Sydney chant. Unbelievable stuff here at the cricket ground. Officials are going out to send some of the fans back in front of the Blawongal concourse area. Exuberant South Sydney fans, they can't quite believe it, that they're here with any hope at all. Nobody said they had any hope, but they're leading by 4 points. Fennicle, dummy half runner. He's taken by Dave Brown. He's 15 metres out. South Sydney swallowing up time. Fennick trying to get to his feet. Plays it back to Boyle. Another dummy half run. They simply have to do this. It's dummy half run and kick. That's the recipe. Boyle tackle. Ackery will do the same. No risk, one would think. Here's Ackery. A little dance. He's out to the 22. Now Baker. Baker will kick. The markers will go for the charge down at double tempo. There's the pass. Out to Baker. And there's the torpedo punt. It's a big one. Straight to the fullback Hegarty. It's got to have a big chase. Manly are on one of their last sets of 6 tackles, and Hegarty is tackled. He's 10 metres on his own side of the halfway, and there was plenty of enthusiasm in the South Sydney tackle. It's with Davis. Now Blake. He shapes the kick and holds it back. Can Phil Blake pull it out? He's got the pass to Thompson. It's gone to Melrose. Melrose flick passes. He finds Thompson. Thompson is tackled, and he plays the ball. And away they go again, and it's Phil Blake again, and he's tackled. 15 metres into South Territory. 2¼ minutes of time remaining. It's come from Cochrane out to Harvey. Touched by South Sydney. 6 more tackles as Hegarty is tackled. 3 metres on south side of the halfway. Excitement supreme. It's out with Schubert. Schubert is tackled. It's to ground. It's with Cochrane. It's gone from Hegarty to Davis. Davis, 10 metres into South area. He's tackled. And it's 1 minute and 50 seconds to go. It's passed from Cochrane and gone to Blake. And Andrews makes the tackle on Blake.
Now's the time for Manly to spread the ball. They've got extras on the left-hand side. Chris Close is looking at a hole.
And it's the clock in the right-hand top corner counting it down as Hasler goes to the 22. He passes in desperation, and Manly have still got the ball. Manly still with it on 5. They're outside the 22, and it's not really a bombing situation here. Thompson floats it. It's gone out to Schubert. Schubert is through 1, passes, finds Davis, and Davis is tackled on 5, and they're still not really in a bombing situation. Here it is with Blake. Up goes the bomb. There's not a great deal of pressure there. It's with DeJura, and DeJura's going to try and bust back, but he can't, and it'll be a line dropout. So, 55 seconds of time remaining, and DeJura going down with cramp. Shades of the 69 grand final, looking on the reverse side of things. Balmain and South wasn't it in 69, when Balmain were accused by the Rabbits of slow motion football. Look at Dempsey Joy with his head in his hands. Fulton talking to Secretary Tennyson. And South Sydney with the line dropout, and the clock stopped at 48 seconds. And now counting. Baker takes the line dropout. Back they go. They need a good chase. It's 40 seconds. It's with Hegarty. He's up to the halfway. 23 is on for South as Melrose tries to make the break. South Sydney, the underdogs of the semi-final fivesome. Can they hang on? Harvey, run around Cochrane, kick ahead by Cochrane, out on the full, and I'd say that is, thank you linesman, thank you ball boys. 16, 15 seconds to go. The Hill crowd has gone berserk out there as they now can see that South Sydney have got it. They've got the feed. They've got the feed. The crowd is counting down. The referee not happy. The siren has sounded. The siren has sounded. He's ordered the scrum. It's out the same tunnel. He's going to play this scrum out, referee Chris Ward. It's in there. South have won the scrum, and that's the ball game. No, yes, it's over. South Sydney have won the sudden death semi. South have won, defeating Manly in a sensational game. Maybe the boil over of the season. 22 points to 18. 22 points to 18. Mario Fennick, my goodness, is he excited? What a game. Fennick is now saluting. Fennick saluting to the South fans in front of the Brawongal concourse. In fact, the South Sydney players, I think, are going to go over to their fans. Or are they posing for photographs with the press? Have a look at them. You'd think they'd won the grand final. Well, I guess for them every match is a grand final. Tuesday was, today was, and next week will be. South Sydney have defeated Manly, and look at Fennick. He's still saluting to the crowd. He's giving it to the members stand and everybody. Boy, oh boy.
It's a pity he doesn't enjoy it.
14-0 in favour of Manly midway through the first half, and South have won by 22 to 18. We've got a camera in the South dressing room. Let me take you down. There they are. Have a look at these scenes of happiness just outside the South door. They can't believe it. I don't think Fennick's got there yet, has he? He's the happiest of them all. Well, at that stage, we'll leave our Brisbane audience. I hope you've enjoyed this live telecast of Souths and Manly, won by Souths 22 points to 18. In the process, plenty of money changed hands, I would think, at pretty succulent odds. And for Sydney viewers, we'll be back in just a moment with our man of the match.
We were behind our in goal there, and things didn't look too good for us. But we decided not to panic, and we decided to kick the ball downfield and see how we could go from there. We managed to get that early try and put us in 14-6, and we started to go over the top of them. Then we started to verbal them a little bit, and their big blokes started to tire, and we saw the light at the end of the tunnel. When we levelled the 14 all, it's almost as if we got another life. And I tell you what, you don't come back from the dead and let it go, let me tell you.
Kicking did play a big part of your game plan, didn't it? Baker kicked the ball on something like 20 occasions.
Well, Neil's been doing this all year. Neil's been one of our best boys this year. He's got a tremendous kicking game, and he's a top runner. Bill Hardy put in a few good kicks as well, and we turned them around a little bit. And their big blokes, they seem to be blowing a little bit towards the end of the first half and halfway through the second.
Well, for taking today's award, it's my great pleasure to present you with a cheque for $500, courtesy of NEC and Electronic Sales and Rentals.
I'd like to thank NEC and Electronic Sales and Rentals. It's a really good prize, and I'm so glad to win it. Thanks very much.
In that last 3 minutes when they started that chant, South Sydney, it made my hair stand on end. And somebody was there and injured, and the players realised that I could actually see them jumping out of their skin. They don't need much tuning up this side, and that was a little bonus.
You personally have had a tremendous year with your success in Brisbane, and you're to be congratulated on that. But what's the future hold for Bob McCarthy as far as coaching?
Well, I don't know at the moment, Bill. I can't predict the future. All I can say is I know I'm going back to South Sydney at least up tonight for a nice drink.
You don't normally smoke, do you?
No.
What was that you were holding in your hand today?
An ashtray.
Mate, honestly, what were your thoughts at 14-0?
Well, I thought we've got to come out of the game with some pride, and I thought, if it wasn't a victory, it had to come out with some pride. But they come out with more than that. They come out with a beautiful win.
Well, let's take it bit by bit. They were your thoughts at 14-0. What were your thoughts at 14-all?
Let's give it to them.
What were your thoughts when the full-time bell rang?
Thank God.
Mario Fennick taking out the NEC and Electronic Sales and Rentals Man of the Match award. I don't think anybody in Australia would disagree with us giving him the award today. Now, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, we'll have the other semi-final for this weekend, and the big one, as they said, between Parramatta and St George. It'll want to be big to be better than today, though. In fact, they only remarked after the telecast had wound down that it had shades of the National Panasonic Cup final. On behalf of the 10 Sports crew and Bill Anderson from the SCG, I'm Ray Warren. Until tomorrow night, good night.
Just a moment, and at 8:30 tonight, Bill Collins will proudly present the full-length version of Joan of Arc.